Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I want to talk about the future of my channel, my brand, my identity, me as a person, and this is definitely going to be a personal commentary. I'm going to be very open, honest, and available for all of you, and it's really more of a video for long-term fans. For those few of you that are new here, thanks to the YouTube algorithm bringing you in for whatever reason, apologies that it'll seem a little bit weird, but most notably today I want to talk about doing in-depth for Modern Warfare. There is a very special announcement section of this video too, and honestly it flows better at the end than I kind of had it planned out that way, but I just want to do it in the beginning so that everybody knows. I have decided to join a gaming team. The team is called Team Passion. They are a Mixer-based streaming collective that's basically comprised of all of the biggest content creators on the platform, and they are certainly the biggest streaming group on the platform. They're huge there, and Mixer's finally blowing up after years of being a small platform. It's been growing month to month, but I think the Ninja thing really blew it up, and I've re-signed to stay there, well, indefinitely, and to be honest, I see the platform as being important for the future of my content and the success of my career, so I decided to make steps to make Mixer a more permanent home. You'll probably see more of them in upcoming videos in the future on this channel, and as a team we'll be able to do much more together than any one person can alone. I'm kind of in uncharted territory on this one. I've never joined a gaming team or a content collective or anything like this, so I'm just kind of YOLOing it and winging it, but they're good people. I'm happy to be there. I've got links to their channels down there below in the description, and of course my own Mixer channel. I'm doing a little giveaway for Scuff Controller if you want to follow that. I'll be streaming there all the time. I hope you do check it out, but let's get back on topic with this video, and that'll make more sense when I'm done talking about other things. Earlier this year in January, I completely quit in-depth because I was upset with Black Ops 4 microtransactions. I'd kind of completed all of the guns anyway, and I didn't really feel there was a whole lot left for me to cover, and I'd generally been growing tired of the series too. For those of you that don't know, I've been doing in-depth since 2009, so literally a decade of doing stat videos, which is a very, very long time, especially in the YouTube space. Every year it takes hours upon hours of meticulous testing and research and checking code and checking things in game and comparing frame rates and little like zoom in breakdowns and all sorts of really, really boring stuff that you don't see in videos, followed by crafting a relatively complex video editing wise and then praying that the developer doesn't drop a patch or a hot fix next week that just completely changes everything and makes your information useless, or that you don't make a mistake at some point in your video of presenting about 100 different complex facts, because then the fans who've come to expect high quality content and are wanting the best info get upset about it, and you know, rightfully so. It's kind of like trying to get 100 on every test. It's quite difficult but doable, and I've had a pretty good track record before, so I understand when people get upset about mistakes. But I've done this every year for the last decade. That's 10 years of testing, 10 years of COD, 10 years of stat videos. And boy, it was tiring, but I pretty much built this entire channel. The foundation of this channel really is in-depth, and most of that being Call of Duty in-depth. I've done other games of varying successes, some popped off, some kind of didn't, but it was mostly Call of Duty in-depth. This past year with Black Ops 4 was particularly complex and difficult because it was the first year that I'd had direct competition with anyone. I had some during like Modern Warfare 2 and 3, but at the time Xbox Ahoy was going exclusive to the Call of Duty Elite app, so I didn't have to fool with that. And I didn't play Infinite Warfare to compete with Exclusive Ace, and we were doing fairly different things during World War II as well. But during Black Ops 4, we were doing very similar content. Quitting Infinite Warfare and being very salty about the game made a lot of my fans jump over to Ace, and honestly not all of them came back during World War II or Black Ops 4, both of which unfortunately faded really fast in the content space. And I was struggling to keep up with the pace of the game updates and the pace of the content, and I was making more and more mistakes in my in-depth than normal. And the frustrating part was that also, given my contrarian nature and disagreeing with the Call of Duty community about a great variety of things, the community was not particularly forgiving of the mistakes that I was making, and I was generally always painted as a villain in the COD stats wars, so to speak, which was kind of weird in the community's perception. Reddit and my comments and elsewhere, Exclusive Ace's videos were always better, had better graphics, better information, better testing, different opinion, something like that. And it just kind of felt like no matter what I did, it wasn't good enough, and I'd sort of lost the throne of guides, so to speak. And this is not not a knock against Exclusive Ace. I'm sure he'll see this video relatively quickly. He's a great guy. He makes great content, debatably better than my own. I've always said that, and I've always said if I quit In Depth, I'll be glad for you all to go see his stuff because it's worthy. But eventually all this became very frustrating for me, like very deeply frustrating, grinding out testing, hours upon hours upon hours of boring things, breakneck editing schedule to keep up with the nearly daily videos. I had to hire an editor full time just to help me manage frequent hotfixes, changing literally everything in the game, frequent patches, and generally getting grilled by the Call of Duty community over every single tiny mistake. It really made me start actually hating In Depth, not just disliking it, but truly actually hating it, and making the series became depressing. And eventually I completely quit the series because the microtransactions got ludicrous, and because Apex Legends swooped in on a zipline and stole my heart. I still love Apex to this day, man. That game just has me hook, line, and sinker. But it got really frustrating and sad. I just didn't want to do it. So when I did quit, it made me a lot happier in my personal life. It made me feel like a better person in my heart. There was not an insignificant amount of stress that was lifted off my shoulders. It made me feel good. I could sleep normally. I could eat normally. I could focus on other things that I wanted in my life. I could play new games that were fun, and it was nice, you know. My income for videos and stuff, because I'm not doing guides, went way down, but you know, I could sleep at night and I stopped losing hair, so those are probably good things. You know, and since then, I've been very adamant about not doing In Depth. I think since January, I said I was never doing In Depth again, and often compared it to eating glass or committing seppuku, because I was burned out. I think I did a couple of videos on burnout. I was burned out, and very, very badly burned out on content creation in general. I've been doing content creation for over a decade now, and it's gotten, it wears on you, as almost every job does. I think you all know that. But that's not all for this story, otherwise there'd be no video to continue with. Apex Legends did great for me, and I thought, man, I'm going to make a new home here on this game. I'm just going to start over. But then it floundered. It didn't have content. It didn't have longevity. I don't think EA supported the game or Respawn the way that they should have. And the Apex has dwindled, especially on the YouTube space. And so did I. I floundered and dwindled significantly. I tried to transition to Apex or Fortnite or Overwatch or just something else new, some other non-Call of Duty game that really caught my eye. But nothing caught on here. Nothing caught on this channel. I tried live commentaries because they seemed easier to make and they were more fun for me to make. I get to be a person that has emotions and does silly things instead of just reading stats, and I've done stats for so long. Making a video that has some other sort of meaning or entertainment or makes people laugh is just so much more valuable to me. And unfortunately, those didn't catch on. It's like even YouTube just like knows. If I upload a video, doesn't matter what the title, tags, anything is. If it's a live commentary, YouTube knows, and it like doesn't even push it to subs. I've uploaded those things for like 4,000 views out of 1.4 million people. And I think there's a reason for that. The very simple reason is that the vast majority of the million plus of you that are here subscribe for produced content, kind of like this, for commentaries, for guides, for personal, philosophical, political, some sort of higher level produced content with editing, some sort of flow, something to listen to, and not just me and other people running around screaming in games, because you can get that anywhere else. And also because they were different games, and Call of Duty fans generally mostly play Call of Duty. They, up until Fortnite at least, they didn't experiment or move on to other games, so it's kind of hard to move that over. And going from a one game channel to a variety gaming channel and changing the format was definitely a losing battle. I mean, it had ups and downs. I had some videos that were bangers, but there was no success I could realistically recreate. And transitioning a channel this big and this old was much harder than I anticipated, and I was not successful at it. Honestly, looking back, I think it probably would have been easier for me to start a completely fresh and new channel and build up from ground zero. And this is where the video is going to start getting much more personal. During this time of struggle, I began to lose my value as a human being by every sort of outward metric, which is sort of the curse of being an influencer. It's a new word and I kind of don't like it. It makes me feel a little crummy to describe myself as an influencer, but I know that definitely counts. But you are constantly judged by your numbers, your performance, your views, your future expected performance, what you've done, what you've said, etc., etc., etc. And less views and less interest in my content means less algorithm pushes. That means a diminished value to my personal brand. That means diminished value to my sponsors, some of which I lost, some of which have been downgraded, to potential offers that did or did not come my way, and almost every single other thing about how other people perceive me. Not my I was much happier personally, but my outward value was on the struggle bus, so to say. It was also harder to get people on board with Mixer and Twitter, since the #1 content stream, which is YouTube, was in a major decline, so trying to move people over to platforms when you're already declined just doesn't really work. And of course, this caused a decline in my personal income and funds too, at least from YouTube. YouTube hasn't really not been my thing this year. Twitter and Mixer have been much better. That's why I've been putting so much work into Twitter videos, because they've been just fantastic. Dude, I bought my house this year on Twitter videos. That shit's been ridiculous. It's pretty crazy and then scary to be an influencer looking at a future completely devoid of you having any influence. And that was rough. You know, that was not easy, and that's sort of something that I'm still facing in some capacity. I'm becoming an old tuber, I'm changing, I'm doing different things, and the thing that I'm doing isn't going to last forever. So for me, the last couple months, it's been a huge breath of fresh air to have Modern Warfare come in like a wrecking ball. It's revived my personal interest in the Call of Duty brand more than ever expected. I went in to see the game early, and I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be bad. I'm gonna have to go like make a drama channel or something, you know." But I was really glad to see that it was a good game. The audience came back on this channel very rapidly to see content around Modern Warfare, and just on YouTube in general, just like broader internet in general, people have really been interested in it, and it sort of more or less gave me an adrenaline shot for content creation. If you haven't noticed, I've been making a lot more videos. It's been a lot more fun. There's things I'm interested in, and I'm currently prepping for an upcoming COD season, which is really the winter season, which leads me to the main point of this video. Do you guys want to see in-depth from me? I mean, I know I get the question about, are you going to do in-depth? Will you do in-depth? Did you really quit in-depth all the time? But honestly, is that something that you want to see return on this channel? While retiring from the series is tempting, I have considered doing one last rodeo for Modern Warfare in-depth, and it's almost certainly going to be the last, because Black Ops 5, at least the rumors, is looking bleak. And I'm terrified that I'll get in about a month or two before the microtransactions come in like a wrecking ball and crush my hopes. Modern Warfare as a game is complex, it's interesting, it's realistic, it's got tons of attachments and strategies and new mechanics and all sorts of stuff, like ballistics, and just lots and lots of neat things that I could make guides on. It is ripe fruit ready for the picking for guide videos. And my personal interest in the game is really high. I'm actually really wanting to play it when it comes out, and I think it's going to be quite good. And in no uncertain terms, it would be better for my personal business and brand. It would help all that out. And I was thinking about, instead of grinding out stat sheet type videos for all the guns, that's something that I would just almost certainly not do regardless of any other factors, to instead focus on attachments, on specific builds, on unique combinations, on gun ballistics, on new gameplay, or pick on some of the more special weapons and talk about what makes them special, because having more selective topics would allow for me to actually do more depth on in-depth, because I won't have to cover every single conceivable topic in the game at a breakneck pace. It'll allow me to make better content. So that's interesting to me, but of course there are some drawbacks. Doing this won't be easy by any measure. It'll be a considerable amount of work, possibly even harder than Black Ops 4. I've got a lot more competition now, not just from Exclusive Ace, but also from lots of other content creators that have joined the fray. Some of my fans have long since graduated from Call of Duty games and could not care less what I play, probably the majority of them, to be honest. And others will probably view this video and all of the content as sort of an about face, or a flip-flop, or going back on your word, or Drifter's broke now, so he's going to change everything, and just he has no integrity, whatever. Because I was pretty adamant about being done with in-depth, and I know that some people don't understand that others change over time as their experiences and situations change. It's sort of like the politician gamble. You said something in the 70s, and you must certainly believe it today. It would almost definitely be my hardest in-depth yet. It would be sort of a long winter for me. But either way, at the end of this season of Call of Duty, I'm going to be at a major crossroads with my channel, which is of course part of my personal life, because what I'm doing for guides and for Call of Duty literally cannot continue forever. Call of Duty as a brand is not going to be here forever, and unless Modern Warfare is amazing, it's basically going to implode this year if they load it with microtransactions. I can't do guides forever because I'll probably go crazy and kill myself, but I can do some of them for now. And as such, I've realized that I must change. I must adapt and do something new, no matter how painful it is, to continue to survive on the sort of the influencer sphere on YouTube and Mixer and Twitter and all these streaming sites and other things. So I've already started implementing some changes. The first one is that in the upcoming months, I'm going to attempt to restructure some of my sponsorships. The goal here is to have less total sponsors and more ones that I can focus on. If you look at my description right now, there's quite a lot of them, and by all means go buy things there. I can affiliate sales, but it's getting to be a little bit too much to manage, and I think it would be better for me to have like 1 or 2 main sponsors and just kind of cut the rest so that I can do it properly. I'm also planning more sort of disruptive or content themed integrations, like the channels that do once a month or have Patreon style content, because that actually works better, and just the links in the description is dead. YouTube is unreliable as all get out, so I have to redo the sponsorship thing, or I just can't afford to do this. I've been moving content over to Twitter and Mixer to build backup platforms in case YouTube implodes, either to my own personal decisions or just because YouTube's pretty unstable right now. That's the reason for number 1, is because everything about the platform is ridiculously unstable. Twitter video content has been great. Mixer allows me to reach out to a totally new audience, which has also been great. So I'm trying to work on backup platforms there. And as such, I thought it would help to join the gaming team. That's where the beginning of the video is supposed to fit. I kind of originally had it planned out where I could talk about it at the end, but I wanted more people to be familiar with Passion, so I talked about it in the beginning. But I need to do new things, and in some capacities that means starting over, and it is much easier to do that with support and with friends in a group than it is to do it completely by yourself. So I joined Team Passion. As for Passion, you'll see me do a lot of stuff with them on Mixer. YouTube will be kind of a project by project basis, and we're going to try to find out some things that are mutually beneficial. Nothing's locked in stone. I've been on the team for 24 hours. I'm recording this video. I have no clue what I'm going to be doing in the future, but I think it's going to be good. It's all good people there, and hopefully some of you consider following me on Mixer or Twitter to see some of the new content. And I want your opinion below about In-Depth. I want your opinion below about this channel, about what you think I should do, what you want from me, what you expect from me in the future, the kind of content you would watch, that you wouldn't watch, and whatever it is that you sort of feedback you want to be given. I'm going to be watching these comments like a hawk, because this is sort of a heart-to-heart on the channel about where I'm going and what's going on in my life and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something useful. I would definitely tell you not to subscribe, because it's pretty much a video for old school fans, but if you enjoyed the honesty, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll have more content coming up soon. Drifter out.